Welcome back. On this video, we are going to study two things. We are going to study the concept of potential energy, meaning energy that is stored somewhere. We'll see where it's stored. The concept of potential energy and the concept of conservation of mechanical energy. Let's go to see this. Please do not expect to understand if you see it once. You need to see this video at least 3 times to really understand. Imagine that the object is here, what we have seen in the previous video. Imagine that the initial velocity is 0. So if the initial velocity is 0, is because there is 0 joules of kinetic energy. There is no kinetic energy. Now there are 0 joules. Now the force is acting. Maybe the force is you pushing the object. Maybe it's you pushing the object during on the displacement of delta x. Let's go to make numbers. Imagine that the force is 10 newtons. 10 newtons, and you displace the object 10 meters. So you make a positive work of 100 joules, 10 by 10. So the work is the change in the kinetic energy. Final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy. I said that the kinetic energy initially is 0 because the velocity is 0. So the work has done something, has put kinetic energy of 100 joules on the object. So the object has 0 joules of kinetic energy, and after he displays 10 meters, he has 100 joules of kinetic energy. So the question is, if I have done a work and the object has gained 100 joules, from where it comes the 100 joules? And the answer is that the 100 joules came from the energy that was stored in your body, in your cells. And when you were here, your potential energy maybe was 1000 joules. When you arrive to here, your potential energy is 900 joules because you lose 100 joules. And the 100 joules that you lose, the body gains 100 joules in kinetic energy. So you gain 100, the body gains 100 joules in kinetic energy, you lose 100 joules in potential energy. If you start with 1000 and you end with 900, you lose 100 joules. If you start with 0 joules of kinetic energy and you end with 100 joules of kinetic energy, you gain 100 joules. So the change in kinetic energy is 100 joules. And the change in potential energy, the energy that you have lost because you have done the work, is minus 100 joules. Wow! So let me see what I wrote. We imagine that 100 joules of energy has come to the object. And from where? From you lose the 100 joules. Sometimes it's not so easy to see from where. In the case of a gravitational force, not the force that you do, is the force that the earth is doing on you. Also, the earth, the gravitational field is storing the energy, and it gives you, if the force were the gravitational field, and you imagine this in a vertical, if the force were mg, and you imagine this in a vertical fall, in a vertical distance, when the gravitational force is acting over the distant vertical distance delta y, the, the object is gain 100 joules and the gravitational field is losing 100 joules. It's happening the same thing. So this is the game. The game is that you make a work, the object gain an amount of kinetic energy 100 joules, and someone like the you or like the gravitational field, the potential energy of the gravitational field lose 100 joules. So let me see what I have wrote here. For example, imagine that you are pushing the car and you do the work on the object of 100 joules by exerting a force of 10 newton on the distance of 10 meters. So you do 100, 10 by 10, 100 joules of work. Now, doing this work, you put the 100 joules on the object, but you lose the 100 joules. You don't have any more the 100 joules. The 100 joules has come from your cell, from your storage energy that was in your cell. So now you lose the energy of 100 joules and the object gains this energy. You lose this energy that was stored on your body, and now you need to eat to replace the energy, and the body gains, and the body gain the 100 joules. So this is the game. This is the game. Game is whatever you lose, someone will gain. Whatever you gain, something else will lose. So the game is like this. If you start with kinetic energy 0, you have 1000 joules of potential energy, maybe stored in your body. When the body gains 100 joules, you lose 100 joules. So now you don't have any more 1000, you have 900. So the change in potential energy is initial 1000, final 900. The change is final minus initial. The change is minus 100, while the change in potential energy is plus 100. You were 0, initially 0, final 100. The change is final minus initial. 100 minus 0, 100. So the change in kinetic energy is 100 joules. The change in potential energy is minus 100 joules. And the equation that you can place is that the change in kinetic energy is equal to minus the change in potential energy. Someone is gaining, the kinetic energy is positive, the potential energy, the change in the potential energy is negative. So I did this in class and I show you how this can be understood if you imagine two accounts, one credit account, one checking account, let's say, checking account and one saving account. So if you remember, I did this in class. Imagine that you have $1,000 in your saving account and $0 on your checking account. If you allow only transaction between these two accounts, it may have that you have $100 on the checking account, and now you will have $900 on the saving account. The saving account is the potential energy. The potential energy is transferring you 100 joules, and the work is 100 joules. So it's a positive work, so this is the kinetic energy. The kinetic energy gain this energy, the kinetic energy gain 100 joules, the potential energy lose 100 joules. So the game and the conservation of energy is exactly this. If you write the equation, you will realize what is the equation. The change in kinetic energy equal minus the change in potential energy. What is the change? K final minus K initial. What is the change? U final minus U initial. With this minus sign, reorder this equation, and you will have K final plus U final. You see minus UF, you put it on the other side, is plus UF, minus Ki, you put it in this side, plus Ki. So K final plus U final equal K initial plus U initial, and this is the statement of the conservation of the energy that more or less say in general that you don't create energy. The energy is stored somewhere. You can put it as kinetic energy. So if you put it as a kinetic energy, you lose potential energy. There are many kinds of potential energy. There are chemical potential energy, energy that is stored in a battery, for example. There are many kinds of potential energy. The energy that we study are mechanical energy. That means potential energy related to gravitational force or to spring forces. We'll see later how to obtain the potential energy of a force.